Welcome back. Jorge Coxaj here. Today's message is guard your legacy. Now, for this message, I want to share a text from you that really it speaks to me in a profound way. And I've thought about this for some time. It's in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 6. And listen to what it says. Children's children are the crown of old men. Obviously, it's talking about grandchildren, right? Children's children. Grandchildren are the crown of old men. Now, what do these have to do with legacy? And I think this is important because the generations that we raise, what God is expecting of us is to raise people who are godly people. You know, that's the whole purpose. Like we are people that are seeking God, and we are people that are looking for Him and looking for His direction, following Him wherever He leads. God expects us to raise kids that are also seeking Him and connected to Him and have a relationship with Him. And what I find powerful about this is that the crown of an old man, according to this text, isn't all of the accomplishments that he's made. It's not all of the things he's been able to do with his hard work and dedication and the grit. It's not the bank account that he built. It's the grandchildren. The grandchildren are his crown. They are what make him, what glorify him to a certain extent. And I found that to be so powerful because, you know, it really speaks to where we need to invest our attention. I think about my kids and I think about what I'm pouring into them. I think about what they are going to do in their lives and the kind of men that they're going to be. I have two little boys. The kind of men that they're going to be and the kind of husbands that they're going to be. I do my best to model the behavior that I want to see them have, them take, because they're not going to necessarily do what I say all the time, but they will do what I do. I was living in Puerto Rico for a time, and I remember that I was living by myself. It was the first time that I was living by myself in an apartment, and I had organized my room in a particular way. My clothing was color coordinated. My shoes were perfectly lined up. I had folded all of my white shirts with my white shirts, and I had folded all of my dark shirts with my dark shirts. Everything was done in a very specific and a very calculated and a very organized fashion. And I remember that a friend of mine, he came into the room one day and he asked, he's like, were you in the military or something? Like, what's going on? And I laughed. At the time, I didn't have a quick answer. I thought about it for a while, but I laughed because I was like, man, I don't know why I do this. After some time of thinking about it, I remembered I had a fatherly figure growing up, and it was my uncle. He was in the military. He was a soldier, a retired special forces soldier. And I grew up with him. Like he's the one that taught us how to use tools and taught us how to work with our hands and construction and building stuff. And he was very smart, and there was nothing that he couldn't learn. He used to say that. He used to be like, you know, there is nothing that I can't learn. If you can do it, I can do it. And it's something that I've carried with me throughout my entire life, where it's like, well, there's nothing I can't learn. If somebody else is doing it, I can do it. If somebody else can do it, then I'll figure out how to do it. If I can't figure it out, I'll learn. I'll take a course. I'll do something. But it's something that I learned watching him. He didn't have that limitation. He didn't have that limitation of, well, you know, oh, this wall fell down or something. You know, what am I going to do? I need to call somebody. He'd figure it out. I'm going to build this thing. I don't know anything about carpentry, but I'm going to study it. I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to do it. And so that's something that he's taught me. And it's something that I teach my kids. So going back to the story, he was very organized. He was very coordinated, very calculated. And now that I was living on my own, I wasn't necessarily putting into practice the things that I heard them say, the fatherly figures that I've had throughout my life, but I found myself doing the things that they did. Because when I thought of, well, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do in this situation? What am I going to do in that situation? It was like, well, what did this guy do or the other guy did? You know, what were the things that they did when they were in situations similar to mine? And then I would do what they did. I'd model that same behavior because it's what I saw. So in the same way, we as men who are raising children that are going to establish the next generation, these are our legacy. They're going to raise the kids that'll raise the next generation. Like it's an ongoing thing. Our legacy is pouring into these kids and making sure that they are godly men that do the things that we do. So an example of that, right? Every day when our kids wake up, they come and see my wife and I in our living room. We got our coffee and we got our devotionals going. We are in the Word. We are doing the things. We don't tell them, you have to do this. We don't tell them, you have to make sure that you read your Bible every day. You got to make sure that you're doing your devotional every day. It doesn't matter what you're going to, day to day. We don't tell them that. Like, we've never done that with them. They just see us. And then what eventually started happening was they started asking, well, where's my devotional? Like, they felt like they were missing out. They were like, well, how come I don't have one? Without us telling them, oh, you have to do it. They were like, oh, well, where do I get mine? And so we got them a devotional, and now they do it as well. Not because we told them or we forced them or we convinced them to do it or cajoled them to do it, but because they saw us doing it. We modeled the behavior we wanted them to practice. Now, I'd like to say that I get it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time. Some of the behavior that I model isn't good behavior. And that's something that I also have to keep in mind. Whenever I see my kids doing something that I don't like, I gotta ask myself, well, what am I doing that is causing this behavior in them, that's causing them to do it? Because they're going to do what I do. They're going to be who I am. And of course, in life, they're going to develop and they're going to meet other people, and all of those influences will turn them into their own person. But at first, they're going to just do what I do. They're going to model that. So I need to make sure that I'm walking on the path that I want to see them walking on, that I'm modeling the behavior that I want them to take. That's what's going to determine what they will do. So be on guard. Be on guard. Guard your legacy. What you do will be modeled by those that follow you. And those that follow you right now are your children. And their children will follow them. Make sure that the life that you are living now is developing people who will crown you in your old age. God bless you. I hope this helps. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you were blessed by the material. We also want to remind you that there are several great ways to make sure you're staying up to date on our content as part of our 360 Legacy Plan. First, subscribe to this channel by clicking subscribe below. You can also download our incredible new app in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Just search Legacy Minded Men. And finally, visit our website at legacymindedmen.org for more information on what we believe, upcoming events, and how to join a group. Thanks again for watching.